are. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Um, but the reason I state that, as a person who has played a lot of Among Us, is once you play with a group of people that has an extreme amount of like experience in the game, right? They'll not really only know timings of areas, but like how long it takes for you to walk from one place to the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important because you can ask people certain questions, and if they answer wrong in terms of their pathing, it fundamentally will be impossible. So unless you know where everybody is, and you can lie about a pathing that isn't that you know was not seen by people, you essentially will be able to. You have to tell the truth, and you have to get kills within that path. Now, there are
Mm-hmm.
certain ways to circumvent that, right? Um, Such as calling a sabotage via comms or lights. Nobody uses reactor. I'm only using Pulse as an example right now.
Right, right.
Yeah, we only play Polish season
Um,
anyways.
so you have to use a sabotage to get a kill, and in theory, you have to frame people. You call like a light sabotage, you immediately vent across the map because you do have the ability to do that on Polis specifically in a
Mm-hmm.
certain way if you know what you're pathing. And you snipe a kill, and people are like, oh, the people in this area are suspicious, and I was in O2, right? Um, that is essentially the only way. But the flaw with this now is people will be in certain segments of the map. They will inherently clear each other if they're town, or if they're crewmate.
Yeah.
And when you play on default settings, such as you have this normal number of tasks, if you're playing with people who are very good at the game, they will instantly be able to do all those tasks. Now, the reason that's bad is because it forces the imposters to kill people really, really quickly. And when you have to kill people really quickly, it makes people just instantly clear. If there's a kill on the right side of the map, the people on the left side of the map are clear, no matter what, for that specific kill. And that narrows it down to 50-50 people. And now, when it comes to timings, you have the people that say there's a kill on the left side of the map, and you have the rough timing when people saw it. Most of the time, people are kind of into groups when they go left or right. Some people are weird, they go into like weapons, some go to office, but like most of the time they go left or right. You have these people on the left side of the map, and then you have people that are clear, and then you know the right side of the map is clear, unless there is a whole vent shenanigan thing happening. But we say most of the time there's people get cleared round one. So now you go into round two, you decide if you want to vote someone off or not. You can kind of instantly, once again, figure out timings. You have people constantly checking vitals. People are always on admin. You know where people are. Assuming people are really good at the game and good at memory, you know where people are. And it's really hard to lie about stuff like that. So when you are imposter, you need to then have spatial awareness of you go to admin and you check where people are, know the path that you can make up, so you can claim that there is a kill here and this is the amount of people that were here. But now you have to frame a person, and this is the only way that you can win as mafia, or as imposter. You have to just cause 50-50s between you and another person, and make it so that other people believe that. You try and find a way that you can sneak a kill, and then sometimes you you do get away with a kill. You do get away with murder, essentially. But it's really hard to do that. It doesn't happen often.
Well, I think the counter to that is that our imposters have found like tons of ways to counter that way of playing, and also we play on a set of rules which makes it so crewmates are kind of forced to do tasks a lot faster because we have a timer. So you have to finish your task, or the imposters literally just win the game off of a timer. And then the way that our meta kind of works right now is you go for a kill as imposter that will either like make you be perceived as crew a lot and have not that many people cleared, or a lot of people will be uncleared. So we kind of play mechanically, so we clear people off of the kill, off of everyone's info combined. And then there's also like the thing with pairs, so like if only one person can clear one person, they could both be imposters, so we have to clear those pairs. And then the game still has a lot of variety within that, so you just and you adapt as imposter around that, and then the rules that we plan allow for a lot of variety in play as well. So I think
I
yeah,
guess I
sure.
need to know like the full rule set of what you guys play on then. So like,
Sure,
what
yeah.
is the rule set? What separates it from just being a pure you load into a public lobby?
Oh, we play on the same exact rules in the current server we're in, but we all came from different ones. But the ones we play on now are It's like 22 kill cooldown. It's or do you want to know the settings or more like the rules? Because I think the settings are usually pretty similar.
The rules.
Okay, the rules are like, yeah, it's you can't pre-plan, so you can't like tell people where to go. You cannot cancel your scans, so you can't like people aren't going to be guaranteed hard clear just by walking on the scanner because people have learned how to fake that pretty well. And we do a lot of queuing right now though, but it's kind of because we want to keep around like a 15 to 20% win rate. I think is what people usually prefer. Yeah, then we also play with what else is there? We're allowed to like metagame, which I think is super important. I think that's a really skilled aspect of the game, and you can counter it as well. I think I might be forgetting. Am I forgetting any other major rules in the?
Well, what's the timer rule? The Mafia win after, or imposters win
Oh
after
yeah.
a certain time?
Well, usually we play on the imposter server, which is like where like we're allowed to get like auto deafened and have different MR distribution and stuff. But so that timer would be, I think it's 20 minutes, and then it including meetings, and then it stops with like 3 minutes left, and then yeah.
20
So
minutes
if
including meetings.
yeah, yeah. So if
You don't have any added tasks?
we play on max tasks. Yeah, we play on 2, 3, 5. But yeah, I guess that's a decent amount. But people don't really like to go to their tasks because if everyone's doing their tasks, that's kind of imposters win con usually. So yeah, when you do your when everyone's doing their tasks, there's not as much people on like utility like vitals or cams or admin. So people are spread out. They only have the info of the people around them. So the way you counter that is just placing yourself in certain places that you're allowed to off of what you hear in the meeting, and then also like just like you said, sabotages. Like the people don't really project them as much as you'd probably think. So you can get like a comms or a lights call off, and then play around that as well.
Um, I feel like that comes down to a meta thing then, because um, 20 minutes seems like an impossibly large amount of time.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the other thing though is that like people just like the task meta that you're kind of talking about is not really there at all. Like people do not really try to rush their tasks, and like I said, when they do, that's when imposters make kills that allow them to get
Can I
like a pretty decent win con. So
can I
win
invite a
condition.
person in this if they want to join?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Stella, are you here? Wait, how did Mafia win? How did... Sorry, I'm also playing Mafia on the side. How did
Yeah,
Mafia
see.
win this game?
I think Brick Nick.
I'm
Brick
back.
Nick, are you here?
Yes,
Oh, you're
I'm back. I'm so sorry I had to step away. My literally 8 months pregnant wife is sick at the same time that my YouTube hero is on stream with me. This is like timing has a funny way in life of making it an interesting priority decision.
I
I
was
still
summoned here.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
hello.
welcome to the... I assume you had the stream unmuted still, right? Like, I don't need to re-explain.
I've kind of been half watching my friends play Valo and half on this, so I haven't really been fully focused on it. So can I get like up to speed?
We're kind of just Five Up's kind of saying that like the game of Among Us is kind of like at the highest level of play. It's very difficult for imposters, and there's not much variety. But I think the counter that me and Bricknick were, I think Bricknick didn't really talk because he was dealing with something, but
I'm
the
sorry.
counter that we see in ranked Among Us is like the imposters just adapt to that playstyle, and then like we change the settings around that. So and the rules. So.
What settings specifically?
Well, I mean, the settings are pretty standard because you don't want. We kind of play around like that timing and stuff.
They
and I think it
have
balances
max
the game.
tasks in vanilla, 0.5 vision. After 20 minutes of game time in general, the game is just over. Imposters win if crewmates don't finish all their tasks.
And like then like the meta now is kind of like tasks are not really meta. The meta is kind of just getting as many people in office as you can without
I can
breaking the rule. We have
guarantee you,
against stacking.
if you're playing on max vanilla tasks, if my players were in your lobby, we would win the game in like.
I would love to see that because I'm pretty sure like we would
We
just.
would win the game in
I'm-
6 minutes.
We
I
would win
mean-
the game in 6 minutes, and it would be. I think inherently because your imposter win rate you said on your server is around 20%.
Yeah, it's like
um,
15, yeah, 15
15 to 20, which I feel like that is impossibly high for vanilla. And the reason I think that it is high on your server is because the meta that you guys created. So obviously meta is different from server to server, but I think the meta that you guys have created is more imposter sided. just
Than yours? No, I don't know if
I
that's
think,
true. I think we our imposters are just like doing more advanced things than I think I see in a lot of the videos
Okay,
and
so
content that
I
see
will
of it.
point out, Homework, that your actual imposter win rate is 11%.
Oh, well, mine is not that high right now, but
And
actually
your-
the average
But
is
what
13.
separates? I guess give me an example of a play that you see your people do that isn't inherently in my videos. And my
Well,
videos also like aren't
I mean,
meant
we're
to
all
be bad.
playing like, well, a lot of people play for either to improve or for MR, so we're literally, which is or like ELO, so we're trying to like,
He's asking for a specific like in-game
yeah.
play.
So like, what we would do, an example would maybe be like, I don't know, like I don't see a lot of like second imposter playstyles, which is kind of like, but beyond the kills that you make, like what you're doing in the meeting, I don't think there's as much happening there. Like, well, the way we would counter probably the way that I see you guys playing is I think we just like someone makes a kill, they don't get seen at all, and then it's really easy to like uh to claim a path. Like that's kind of like like second nature to imposters for us. Is claiming a path that like isn't going to get you accused is pretty, that's not that difficult, I feel like. And also
Well, that's level 1.
yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, you're saying that's like difficult, like almost impossible to do with like the meta, and that's just I don't know. I don't think that's true. And then
Well, that's not. Stella, I don't know. Let's see if Stella agrees with this or not, because she wasn't listening. I said that in Vanilla Among Us, it is fundamentally very hard to get yourself cleared off of kills on Pola specifically, because
well,
people
yeah,
have gotten good to the point where they can keep track of how long it takes to get one side to the other, and you also have people constantly on admin and vitals.
Mhm.
So if a kill happens, unless you know exactly as imposter the path that people took, people will kind
yeah.
of know if you don't go on a specific path.
I mean,
So you have to have
we
that
could,
awareness through it.
Yeah,
kind of,
so like,
okay, go ahead.
I'm a great person to ask this question too, because I'm like extremely time sensitive in game. So if someone does give a pathing that does not like line up time wise, they are like basically on the chopping block.
Yeah,
I
I think
generally
that's
have a good
we
sense
play
of
that way as well.
timing.
Like if you're missing like seconds of your path, not second, well, even sometimes seconds of your path.
Yeah, I go down to seconds.
Yeah, you're gonna get like you're gonna get sussed. You might even get voted off of that as well, like hard accused. But the the way that imposters are countering that as well,
No.
though, is just with their teammate as well. Your teammate can do so much for you, like
Yeah,
you kill.
that's
But you don't. You have to know
that
where
can
your
damn you
teammate is,
both
and if the
if you're
teammate is
not
with
careful.
people also, right? And you say something that immediately outs you, so you have to let your teammate be the one to save you, which is on them, not you individually. But if they do
Yes.
that, then it also becomes a secondary path of what if someone else saw you? Like your teammate doesn't
Yeah.
know the style you're playing.
I mean, it's also the thing you said about like how you would just
Another thing
finish your
too-
task. Oh yeah, go ahead.
In like a vanilla competitive like sweaty lobby, quote unquote, like you're gonna have somebody on cams pretty much 24/7. You're gonna have somebody on admin, someone on like finance.
Mhm.
Like at least like rotating between those things.
Yeah.
Usually, I would say like a 10% win rate is probably like merited, but like,
Well, in the
probably
servers
higher.
in
Like,
other
a good
servers
lobby.
it's been lower. At Purple, the last server that's alive right now is there's a lot of people who are new to the game, so it's a little higher than usual. But I actually think this season it's like 13%. Yeah, and also we have like yeah, I think 15 to 20 is what I said people want it to be because it kind of makes the game, because you don't necessarily want crew to win every game. That's not like
I
that doesn't make
I
it
will
more
bring up
competitive.
one
Like, you
important
wanna-
point about what skews
Yeah.
the
I mean, you
imp.
do though. That is the
No,
competition
no.
of you actually want to put it in crew's favor.
No, it's
That's
like
what- that's the
it's
problem.
two teams that are fighting against each other. It's not necessarily like the crewmates should be winning every game. It should be like who individually is winning. That's kind of how we play.
So my opinion on Vanilla Among Us is, unless you get, I will say the word lucky, because most of the time people have alibis and things. Like most of the time you have a reasoning to be like, if you get a kill, you're most of the time at least on the list of suspicious people. Very rarely are you not on the list of suspicious people for that kill.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're
Mhm.
mafia, you're just in that list of people.
Yeah,
Um
you're in
And-
people's minds.
that boils down extremely quickly, especially if you're on a server paying attention to meta, and that's a whole different skill set of if people are good at that. And we're not going to go into that. We're going to go purely just if there's only mechanics. The main way to win in Vanilla Among Us at that point is framing another person and saying, this person was on this pathway. They are very likely imposter. We should vote them out type of deal. You have to frame people, or you cause a 50-50.
That's
The meta should establish to like killing in front of people and saying this
that's
person
not
killed in
even
front
meta
of me.
at all though right now, because we literally like you make it. You're trying to make a kill that is between like at least 3 people, and at that point it's difficult to like get shot because like you're only gonna get voted if you're sus, and most imposters
In
know
the-
how to claim something that's not gonna like look bad
In a
for
lobby
them.
where crewmates are trying, one of those like quote unquote 3 people or whatever, like if it's like 3 or less people, one of them is early.
No, I mean sometimes, yeah. Well, it's that's how you also win an imposter game, though, is intentionally making a kill that someone else looks sus for, but that there's also multiple people other than you that are uncleared for. So that way of playing doesn't necessarily work as crewmate, just like shooting the most sus, because you can counter that as imp by making people more sus than they get shot and you don't. Because you can't shoot everyone who's sus for the kill when there's 3 on 9. Like, I think you guys know that.
There's a very fair
Can't shoot
point
everyone.
that there
Therefore,
Yeah,
there
but
is an element
I'm
of
saying
luck.
like strictly like on 9 early game, like somebody
Yeah.
should be voted every single
Yeah.
time.
No, that's not even
Mechanically-
meta.
Mechanically, that's just the most optimal way to win if you're playing in a tournament.
No, that's not even true. That's like not how it is now. Like if you're just trying to shoot someone always, like that, you're just forcing yourself to be on 8, and 8, like, I know, like if you're shooting someone on 8 every time, you're forcing yourself to be on 7, but 8 like is like easier
It's
than
not just
9. Like
shooting,
having
it-
less people alive is good for
It's,
imps
it's not
most
just
of the
shooting
time.
to shoot, right? Like there's
not-
info
you
to
have-
be had that guides you to that shot.
You have limited people of who are the suspicious people. So let's say a kill happens and then it's between 3 people and one of those people is imposter. You go into that meeting suspecting 3 people, or Mafia did a play, but in this scenario we're assuming that they didn't. So they're on the chopping block. Then you listen to the meeting and what people say, and because you're paying attention to meta also, you have an educated guess. It's not just you already have a 33% chance
Oh, yeah,
of just voting out a
that's
Mafia
true.
randomly.
Yeah, that's
you have
true.
an educated guess on top of that, which I would say tips it in the favor of voting out an imposter day 1, above 50, if you are actually like good at reading that. Because
Yes.
if it's between
Right.
people, obviously they're going to say their own pathway, their own alibis, their own reasoning of why they aren't suspicious. And no matter what, crewmates are a little bit easier to identify than imposters if you're playing in a good server.
I don't even think that's true, because the imposters, again, I think you're just forgetting that like imposters just like are gonna like do their very best to counter every meta that is placed against them, and then also like the way that playstyle is countered, if you're shooting the person most sus for the kill, you're playing off of odds, because you're not gonna have like a 90% chance of shooting the imposter on 9. That's never happening in like our meta. So if you're shooting wrong that much, your win rate on crewmate is going to be lower, because if you're just shooting crewmates out on 9, imps have a better chance of winning. You can just kill, get to 7 and triple. You can just like play 2 50-50s if you want. There's so many opportunities for you to win the game as imposter when you shoot a crewmate out, and you can have a voting pattern. Most of the time, crewmates have a voting pattern to win the game, and the way that imp is, you try to counter that pattern. That's kind of like the meta right now, I would say, like at the bare minimum.
I don't know.
No, that's just what it is. I don't know. And I feel like I don't know if you've seen like examples of it either, but it gets. Oh, this is Jay. Jay, you can talk. Also, you haven't talked yet.
What's going on?
Did you have anything you wanted to say, Jay?
No, not specifically. I think the points brought up on both sides are very accurate, actually. And I like the point with 5UP saying that on 9, I shoot a lot on 9. I always shoot on 9. And I think that what 5UP said is actually right. I'm not going to lie to you. Because, I mean, when you're taking an educated guess, especially when it's 33, 33, 33, right? You're taking your educated guess on top of that. The likelihood
It's
of
not
getting
voting
the
on 8, it's voting on
imposter
9. Voting, like,
Yeah.
if it's 9, it's either 2 imposters killed round 1 to get to 8, or you just vote out someone and you still have a very high chance of winning on 8
I'm
anyway.
saying most of the time you should shoot on 9. That is true. Shooting on 9 is usually optimal, but if you're just I don't think you should always shoot on 9. That's the one thing I was
Like,
counting.
I guess the way to... we're adding the element of this isn't even for, like...
Yeah, this is just
how do I
meta
explain
discussion.
it?
This is bearing in mind that there's information behind the kills too.
There's,
I mean,
But it's not,
we
it's not
only
random.
play for information though. Is the thing.
Honestly,
we play for,
the best way for you guys to have an understanding of how the games are, are obviously to play the games that we're playing, right?
Yeah, but
So
that's
if you really wanted to, you could come in and you could play a few games to get a vibe for the meta and how things actually go. Get a feel for the rules. You
Well,
probably understand, from our perspective more.
There's a lot of assumptions that I feel like just aren't like true. And the fact that you said that like if you joined our lobby or if you played it like with our rules, you would just get an instant task win makes me think that like the level of imposter gameplay is just not there, which is why I think we would probably have something up on you guys. But
No, the imposter level is there. The thing is, like, our crew is just so fast and so good at the game that we have had to
Well,
add. Like,
how are you not like
fast.
countering that as imp though? Like if people are just doing their tasks, you can just like
you can't
kill
counter
and it's
it
between people.
because people are very good at figuring out everything instantly.
Yeah.
Is the
I don't
reason
know.
why.
I think you're overrating it a bit. It's just I don't know.
I would...
Because we've played the game
I mean-
without the
We have had
influence
to
of
amp
content.
pass up to modded level of 2-2-10. because we would just have task wins otherwise.
I would say like.
Did you ever have a
you-
timer?
And the imposters are not bad. Like 5-up is like one of them. So like.
No, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying like if you can't counter that, it just makes me feel like there's not as high level of play in the imposter role than like we have.
Well, okay. Let me ask you how you would counter that then.
Well, the counter is you just like I said, you make a kill that that you are probably not going to get voted for, and then you
The
just
hard
keep
part is
doing
making
that.
that kill.
I mean,
How do you
that's,
get
that's
that
the thing.
Right,
That is,
that's hard, but
wait.
it's just
I
like
think
we
the
can
hardest
get
part
that.
about this is actually describing the kill itself, right? It's all situational, right? I think it's almost
Yeah.
impossible to describe it specifically.
I think
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
I want to say one thing, which
So-
is there's a valid point around that you have to get lucky a little bit. You have to be a bit patient. You have to wait for the right things to happen, and there are rules to stop just like super hard stacking. Like if everyone just sat admin vitals, the game would be extremely dull, right?
So,
Oh, by the way,
when
something.
I in the beginning of the conversation, right, I described the meta in stealth server. This is specifically stealth server that I'm describing, and some competitive like tournaments that I have played in. You either have people hard grouping, or I'll describe in tournaments. But for just the pure content competitive style, stealth server is this. You're saying that the way to get a kill, to not get framed as mafia, is to find a kill that doesn't frame you, right? You have to be patient and find that thing that, like, yes, that's a good kill.
It's between enough people to where like shooting you is not optimal for
Mhm.
Pure.
So my reasoning on why that doesn't work in stealth server is because by the time you have that kill, 70% of the tasks are already done. And I'm not saying it's because the killers are slow. I'm just saying it's because people are that fast.
What?
And that's just
That's
round
crazy
one.
to me. How do you guys have enough info to ever
I
vote an
can't-
imposter then? That
Okay,
makes no sense.
so this is
Because
kind of
we know where
how
everybody is.
the game is played for me, right? This is how I start my game, right? Especially when pre-running was a thing. You know, I'd go down below dropship, I'd pink ward, and I'd go to. I would tell you 6 or 7 times out of 10, I will die before I get to office, right? And there will be a cluster of non-clears because either lights were called or comms were called,
Well-
and everybody's in a mumble jumble on the left side or right side. Nobody can, and people are trying
Well, I
to
would say
decide
that
who
would
came.
be,
right side, left
in my
side
opinion,
first.
then, if the lights are called and you're pink warding under dropship, I would say that's inherently your fault, right? Because you're in a spot that doesn't clear people if you die, and especially if lights are out, you're a very easy kill. Instead of just going to left or right, if people
There's
go
no
left
like
or right,
starting
you're in a
place you
group.
can go to though. There's no
Okay,
starting
no,
place you can go
no.
to like guarantee when it's
I
clear.
would agree with you, but I don't know. Now this is where meta kind of comes into play, right? If you go to vitals or people would normally check up on me to see if I'm still alive or not, check up for bodies above storage in between comms and office, whatever it is. That's kind of how people play around me. So I mean,
well, the pink
I'd
warding
say
was a
that's
counter
kinda
to
where
like imposters like killing without a pink warder. So say you don't have a person who's pink warding,
Why
the
would
counter
you
to
need
that is
to?
just
Why
what?
would you need a pink ward though? Is my question,
because
right?
because then people can just like walk like wherever they want and vent away, and then like just because you don't see someone doesn't mean they're not. It doesn't mean they're an imposter. Like,
Well,
and you're not gonna
inherent-
see every crewmate, so that's how you
I would,
play
I would say
imposter.
inherently, right? You have two chunks of people. You have some chunks that go left and some chunks that go right. You do the task in the beginning of the dropship if you have it, and you go down and you just separate left or right. Some people will do the node. Most of the time, you shouldn't be doing gas. On round one, at least. Shouldn't be.
Yeah, we have stuff like you're not gonna go to like stupid spots like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go left or right. So even if you don't have information exactly on where everyone is as an individual, you have your side. Say you went to the left. You know that information because you're keeping track of that. And then the group on the right, you know there are some crewmates there that are paying attention to that. And it is their job, if we're talking like really good players, they will not have false information of who is there. Imposters can lie, but there will still be a crewmate in that section that is there.
Well, I mean, also, like I said, the current state of the game is not in its peak at all. It's actually probably a lot below that. And other servers, we've had a lot lower win rates, but we've also the game has never been stale though. Really, like it's still been enjoyable, and like there's still been things you can do to counter the crewmates. So I don't know. Even with that though, like I think what you're saying still doesn't make sense to me because I think if you're making a kill that makes it so that everyone's clear, that just means your kill was not good, like in the first place. That's how you play around. Like, I refuse to believe that you can, like, just because people are going left and right, you're gonna know the exact timing, and then everyone's gonna be clear off of that every single round, like, or like most of the rounds. Like, that's just not what happens.
Yeah, I mean, and to say that normally 70% of tasks are done by all crewmates before the first kill happens, like that is nearly impossible in our games. You get lucky if there's not a kill in the first 15 seconds.
Yeah, I that's just the exact counter though. Like, there's just no way you're gonna if everyone's rushing tasks, there's no way an early kill is gonna be just figured out by everyone because you just can't see everything.
I mean, and, you know, you can go somewhere. You can pass someone left side office. You know, you can claim that you left side
I
office. You
mean,
can go
we play
beneath.
with a we play with a. I mean, I'll use this as an example. We play with a role that is like imposters. You don't know like what roles they can be initially, right? We play with a bunch of different things, but there's a role specific called the
That's fine.
vampire, where if your kill is you click them and you click bite, and after 3 seconds they die. It's a delayed kill. You don't have to be on top of them. You can bite them and then they can just walk and they die.
And you have
Even
no
with-
choice in this. Like, it is always.
You have no choice. You have no way to know that you're bitten until your body's just over. So there's plenty of times where we're paying attention to like 5 other different imposter roles of what it could be, but with that extra information, instantly call lights as imposter, as the vampire, bite someone, and it still boils down to 3 specific people.
That just has to be a really bad kill. Then there's no way that like that kill was good if like everyone just knows exactly where everyone was at the time.
It
Yeah.
comes down to I would, in my opinion, right, it comes down to communication and just the ability of like everything that, at least the people that I play with, what they're paying attention to and understanding of it. I would say an interesting thing for you would like, because I mean I'm the type of person that likes experiments. I don't know about you, Stell.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We do a vanilla game under their rule set
Mhm.
with them playing in our group.
That would be pretty fun. Yeah, that would be
That's
crazy.
interesting.
That's
I would
really
like to see- yeah.
see, and
Yeah.
like, you'd get 2 games, and then we'd have another person join, and then like, they
Sure.
would play within the group. But like, I don't.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So 5up, I think that's a
the thing,
fantastic
an
idea.
Experiment is not my server to say because most of the time they play with very specific people. So like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's me who can make that decision. I'm just
Mhm.
saying.
Right,
I
that'd
would
be
wager.
good.
We played, when I first joined them, we played vanilla. We played pure basic vanilla.
But what are you
Not
talking about?
Waffle House.
My
And we also
Waffle
play-
House is a
oh.
lot worse than our server, but that's fine.
To say in front of the server people.
Dude,
But
be
anyway,
respectful, please, Homo.
Oh, sorry. I meant like the level play seems a little bit different. That,
Look,
like,
if we
You
put
don't
our
see
if we
all
put our
the
egos
server
aside, I think that it's an
you don't
interesting
see
experiment.
The curated.
You don't see my lobbies.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's fair. Actually, I probably haven't had like the best experience with that. I didn't play that much in there, but
I'm talking a very specific set
yeah,
of
sure.
people.
If you're playing with
not
like
the server.
pre-made, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's probably a lot better than what I played in.
And also on top of everything I'm saying, we play on 0.25 vision.
Yeah, that's fine. Wait, then what's the issue then? Like
That seems very imposter favored, right? Like lowered vision
No,
as well.
Extremely.
No, it's not.
No.
It's still crew favored. Like the crew are just good. Like that's just
I
all I
don't
have to
know.
say.
I mean, okay, so crew are good on our server as well, right? Like there have been many little sort of subcultures of ranked Among Us. Like Among Us MMR, you had to do an interview to even get in. You had to know the timings of how long it would take to get anywhere on the map from anywhere else. Like
This
there,
was over a year ago as well.
right,
Also,
there is
like,
a standard.
Okay, sorry, you can consider picnic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there is a standard where like crew plays pretty good in the ranked community, and there are pre-mates that appear with like good crew, and still imposters can get some wins, and crew are furious when imps win because it is rare, but it does happen, and there is an element of luck. Undeniably, there is some luck involved because there's no communication. You have to like wait for certain things to happen, and you can't always win. There are some games that you just cannot win as imp. Like that just happens.
So I think I think we actually play ranked with like some people. You play with Mikey a lot, right? Or I don't know if you do. I saw him in a couple of your videos at least. You at least know who he is. There's some
Who's there?
people. I don't know who are some of the
Mikey.
people that you play with.
Mikey's one. I mean, I don't know who is like crossing
Mikey
over in
did
this
the
one.
Mikey isn't part of like the modded thing, but he
Yeah,
did
sure.
do like.
Who
the
would you
vanilla stuff.
consider like a player that would like hold up in one of your like really good lobbies?
Germ,
Who else?
Pinky,
No.
Roster.
Okay, I'll probably watch some more then I guess, but I don't know.
Germ, Pinky, 19 Pyro. Well, there's a lot of names I could give you here. Like there's too many.
I played like
And-
one imposter game on Waffle House and it was just like pretty easy, but that's probably just one of the not good lobbies.
It's
that's
not.
fine.
It's not the pre-mains.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. That's fair. That's fair.
I guess in my perspective of, I would like to think I'm a good imposter player. I like to think I'm one of the better imposter players, just in general, right?
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I have enough grounds to say I am. With that being said, I play on with them with 0.25 vision, with a bunch of town-sided roles also, where the only caveat is we cannot claim what role we are, with a bunch of extra information. And imposters have roles also, but it's still
Yeah.
like
Well,
0.25 vision. People cannot claim. The only like the way we balance it is the fact that people cannot claim. Otherwise, it'd be too town
Sure.
favored.
Wait, can I just
Um,
ask? Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No, yeah,
What's it called? How often would you say imposters like lie about where the body is?
Semi-often.
Okay, and then like how often like when that happens, like is it easy to figure out, or is it just like do you play as if it's there, and if it's not there, like does it create two different worlds or what?
It depends on the scenario. Like,
Sure.
That's
Okay.
super scenario driven. Like,
Yeah, I'm just wondering like how. Okay, never mind. It's fine. Someone was trying to.
Listen,
try to bring
I
that
mean,
up.
it's really difficult to talk about theoreticals because it's all situationally based, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's hard to
kinda-
like look like insightfully like look into both worlds
Yeah.
and figure out which one
It's
is.
really hard to compare.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I think the only way to do that would be to like have some overlap, but I don't think we have much of that. The only one I could think of was like Mikey and maybe like Decode.
I do just fully think in a vanilla lobby, your meta is more imposter sided than just if everyone tried to do their tasks and also pay attention to where
Yeah.
people are.
And that's a good thing
especially
though?
with,
Would that not be
especially
a
with
good thing?
0.5 vision. Sorry
0.5
to
vision
bring
is
that in,
insane,
but like
too.
especially with 0.5 vision.
Well,
like,
me and Jay, or you said it's more imposter side or recruit side?
I think you meant
Imposter sided.
imposter sided.
Oh,
it's too
0.25
easy
vision
for
would be more
imp, is what you're
imposter
saying?
side,
Oh.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I
it-
think
Oh.
0.25 would be more.
but me
No,
and
we
Jay.
have to. We
Yeah,
play with
Oh,
0.25 because it's Yeah, we play with 0.25 because it is so crewmate sided in
Two-sided.
general.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
me,
of
me and
how
Jay, yeah, I mean, me and Jay, we came from a different server, which was very crew-sided. We played, you were allowed to pre-plan, you were allowed to, the crew vision was 0.5, and then, like, it was pretty, and in that server, there was still, like, things going on, like, the imposters could win still because they were just adapting to it, and also, crewmates had a way higher win rate there, of course, but even, like in ranked, like, without, like, you don't need mods necessarily to make, like, the game, like, as crew-sided as you're saying it is, like, definitely not.
No, we use mods to make it
You want
imposter
to be
sided.
imp-sided, yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
well,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, the
saying
mods are used. The mods are used to make it imposter.
well, how is
favored.
ours more imp favored then? That makes no sense.
Because the base
Well-
game of Among Us is very, very easy to solve.
Yes.
Oh, well,
Like when I said the like with the 0.5 thing, it's just despite being 0.5.
well, what would you?
vision,
What was your
still getting,
imp win
like,
rate? You think
0.7
then?
rate.
Like your guess on your imp win rate? Like how often
Um,
does imp win?
I used to keep a stat sheet just to, like for balancing reasons, but I stopped doing that.
Do you have an estimate?
It depends on like some people are inherently better at imposter than others, but like if we combine everyone as a whole, I would say
Like oh yeah, everyone's a whole.
15-20% max still, right? Like it's probably within
Yeah,
there too.
that's about right.
Again, the server me and Jay played in, it was like it was a lot less than that for a
I
while.
should
And then
say I had over 200 games played and I had a 98% crew win rate.
yeah, that was on regular like no mods except for the
That's-
timer.
Yeah, no rules.
And the
anything.
timer didn't really do that much as well. So I mean, we played on 2-3-5. We played on 20-second kill cooldown, and we allowed pre-planning. We allowed what's it called?
Stacking,
Claiming.
Stacking and stuff like that.
everything
But
you
and
can
that wasn't
imagine.
even that. I mean, stacking was pretty huge, but we didn't like pre-plan the whole game or anything like that. We would just do it when it was like really necessary, which I guess we could have abused, but we didn't. We had like around like what like a 10% win rate like when like the game was like at its average in that server. What do you think?
I'll have to look at the stats.
Like 10, 15, like I don't know.
Yeah, I'd probably say average. Average is most likely.
And even right now in like Among Us Gaming or Purple Among Us, which most of us call it, if you do the command to look at the overall imposter win rate, hold on, I'll look. It's 12.9% right now.
Let me
Or
ask
no,
you,
12%. Yeah.
How good are you guys at hiding and lying in a meeting? Let's just go from the meta perspective of just a pure meeting talking.
Oh, meta. I mean, that depends on the player. There's some players are better in the game than in the meeting, and then like it kind of counters out. But if we're talking about just in the meeting, most people are like definitely good enough to where if they lie, like it's like it can go unnoticed very easily. Like it's not like super noticeable.
Yeah.
And people play a lot off of meta as well, so it's not like we're not looking for that. Like it's pretty much like just built into how we play. But there are
this
still
is-
yeah, what's
Like
up?
just like for like a comparison thing, like I have had games like, and this isn't even like only in my lobby. This is in other people's lobbies as well, where I have killed on top of someone and then lied my way out of not getting voted in a vanilla game.
You killed on top of. Oh, well, yeah, you can.
Literally
that's
killed on top of
possible.
someone and got accused and
Well,
was able
I mean,
to like get out.
like
of it.
gaslighting
Somebody
and
who
all
was
that is
basically
still.
unclear.
Oh wait, where did you play though? Where did you play?
This was
I guess.
You know what
I
it was
guess it
called?
boils down
This
to
was
like.
waffle. This one was waffle. So
I
I'm not
think
specifically thinking of, but
you
there are
guys-
other occasions.
I assume you guys have probably like, if you watched initial competitive Among Us, you've probably seen at least a few of the morning lobby games played with me and Hafu, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like, I think you're
Um,
definitely on the very good side of like the
I
content
would-
creators for sure. Yeah.
I would say in those games, Hafu and I were trying 40% as crewmates.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
We
fine.
still had the
So
games
you're-
solved instant. We were constantly hiding information and just not saying who we thought it was when we knew, not even from like just people speaking, just like where people are and location wise. If you have a leader, go through like, hey, where were you?
Yeah.
Like, it's solved.
Yeah,
it
well,
just,
even
it just
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
It's
but
not-
okay,
it's
so
not- I
five
think
up
that's
in
really
that
the
scenario.
difference.
What if you
Alright,
get
so-
target killed?
What if you get target killed?
Yeah.
Then it means that the skill difference is bad if people are getting target killed.
Yeah, and I mean we do have disparate MMR. We don't have strict skill-based matchmaking because we don't have a big enough community. So you do get sort of mixed lobbies. Like in the scenario you gave, where you and Hafu are the ones who've got it figured out. If you or Hafu get killed, then sort of half of the good crew is gone. Like that does
Yeah.
play out a lot in our meta.
So I mean, that's doesn't that come down to it then, right? If there are people, okay, I guess the way to explain it is, I'm playing in the group that I do now with the equivalent of like 8 Hafus,
Right.
right, and myself.
Yes.
So, when you have that, then it becomes an equal playing field, and then we know how to deceive our way out of that very, very specifically. But when you don't have that, when there's a skill difference, the game will just be solved.
Well,
No matter-
I feel like most people, I don't know if like most people that I know, like who have watched your stuff, and I've watched a decent amount of it too. I think we can solve the game as well from just your perspective pretty easily. I don't think that's different in our server as well too.
I think kind of what's happening here is we're struggling to see the perspective from opposite groups, right? You have your perspective with your group, we have our perspective with our group, right?
Mhm.
And we haven't been able to experience, what it feels like to play in each other's lobbies.
Yeah. That's right. I
So
think
that-
that
that's
the
kinda
experiment
what's
is the
missing.
correct next step. Like you're getting to that same point, Jay, and like 5 Up
Yeah.
and Stealth. Thank you both for embracing that idea. I respect that it's like extra investment from your time, and I think that that's the only way we can really understand each other is like an empathy exercise of some sort of experiment.
And the potential benefit would be like actual like try hard Among Us, like kind of probably like resurfacing a little bit at least. So we're kind of in dire straits a little bit here in the ranked community.
Right.
But
Yes.
we still have a player base, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Purple Server, it has 230,000 people, but then only a couple of hundred of actual ranked players.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is toxicity. It's being unwelcome to new players, and also
And
just
it's
like
not as appealing as well as
the game is
not really
not
playing for much.
really that
Yeah,
important
that is
anymore.
the driving thing that kept me from like joining into any of those communities.
Yes.
And
Yeah, sure. If we were to create an environment that was like intended to not be toxic and stuff, because we kind of allow more leniency on that, like in the server there. But you're not supposed to be like super toxic, but we kind of like yell at each other a lot. But
This is the number one
Well,
thing
that
that I
has to
want
be a
to
thing.
fix is the toxicity.
Mhm.
And anyone who
Well-
has any sort of skin in the game in terms of money or like wants to promote the server or whatever knows that the toxicity is the number one problem to fix.
sure, I guess. And then Fab, are you aware of like Jelly Peanuts server, like the Nutters?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I didn't know.
Did you ever play in there?
I'm not. I mean, I had my own server. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. I feel like that's one of like the biggest servers that was like really good was Nutters. Like it's that one. It's the one me and Jay played on SKs, MMR. There was Polaris was pretty good. AUR. There's a bunch of servers that like we usually talk about when we're talking about like ranked Among Us, and I don't know. I feel like you didn't like. I don't know if you've like seen those games a lot, so I don't know what you're really
Well-
basing this off of.
I'm basing. Sorry if this sounds arrogant. I'm basing this
Yeah.
off of 7 years of experience in deception games played at the highest level. where
Yeah.
I'm comparing it to myself being a person who was known as like the best player in a certain thing, where I was a community of every best player coming to mind for a championship series. So
Yeah.
I'm coming off of this is my perception from my resume.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think you do have the
I'm not
qualifications.
saying that the morning lobbies at any
But-
point were the best players.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I know conceptually what the best players would be and how to play
And
correctly.
do you not think it would be fun or like entertaining at all?
I think it would just be a vast majority of crewmate wins, and the only way imposters win unless they get lucky. And I will say
Yeah,
unless they
I
get
mean-
lucky, it's not if they don't get unlucky. It's
But-
unless they get lucky would be to create 50-50s and just have people lie against each other.
I think that level of play though you're talking about is like really
I'm
difficult to
also,
come
like-
by. I think that's something that we're still striving for a little bit, but we can counter it with different rules and settings. So I think we can just keep that kind of healthy imposter win rate, and then also have the game be skill based.
Also, like from the perspective I've seen of like some of like the ranked communities and stuff like that, the majority of imposter wins are solely like built on discriminate mistakes.
Yep.
I agree with that 100%.
That is always the way it's framed as well. Like anytime
No,
an
I'm
imp win
not saying
happens.
all of them are. I'm not saying all of them are. I'm saying the vast majority.
I agree. I think it's actually true. It's factual.
But
Like
those mistakes come from good plays most of the time. It's not just like
I would-
imposters
so,
are running around and killing them.
I don't think. I would say very rarely does a crewmate mistake happen in our games.
right. Yeah, and your assertion probably is true, 5up. Like, you play in such an insular community of people who've played for a long time, who know each other very well, so you know when someone is acting a bit weird, and you don't really make mechanical mistakes. So you most likely, it's boring, because you're going to get all crewmate wins, so you have to change the game. Hence all the
I would
modded
actually
stuff.
wager very differently. This community is very good at hiding their stuff. I'm paying purely for information. I'm not trying to learn their metas of people, but they are very good at lying, and it's actually one of the more fun things I've played.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I think the
rather than not.
lying part is also really fun. I don't know why you brought that up. It seemed like you were bringing it up as a negative, but I think like making a believable lie is super satisfying.
I'm not phrasing it as a negative. I'm saying from a game point,
That's
right?
like the
if
only
you're trying
thing
to
left
hide
for
a body,
imposters to do.
it's really hard to not get just sussed out from a body because people clear each other. So you have to force like a dichotomy of you go against people, and that's the highest level of play that you can have in vanilla Among Us is you either framing a person or convincing people to vote them out in a 50-50. Most of the time,
just-
like the
yeah.
highest level is framing.
I'm just saying
hard
that just cannot be true. I'm sorry, but I mean like.
Well, what's
it's-
higher level than that?
I mean, it's as the crewmates improve, like I'm saying, the imposters improve with them, which is why that's not gonna happen. Like if the imposters are doing different things, then the crewmates have to adapt to that. So they're going to make mistakes because they're used to things happening throughout the game. If you're playing the same meta, like a task-heavy meta, I'm telling you that meta is pretty fairly easy to counter as imposter.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
In terms of types of kills that can happen, there is a kill that is not found, everyone is clear from it. The next level above that is there's a kill and it is between a few people. The next level above that is there is a double kill that happens. The next level of that is there is a kill that is being protected by your imposter partner, so that kill is not suspected and they get out. The next level above that is a frame kill. The next level above that is a flat out I kill in front of you and I get you voted out saying you killed. What's past this point?
Do you think that's the highest level? You think that putting yourself in a 50-50 with someone and getting 50-50 is the highest?
No, I'm saying not putting yourself in a 50-50. I'm saying winning
And succeeding
a
in the
50-50.
50-50.
Succeeding in the 50-50.
Okay. So let's say you win the 50-50, right? Where do you go from there?
You win the game.
Buttoned out. You get buttoned out. Or are you talking about when you're on 4 or you're on 6?
When you're on 6. When you're on
understood.
7.
Yeah, like I mean, when it would make sense to do something like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, you don't. I mean, if you do it on 8, right?
Yeah.
That's
You're
just
just gonna get buttoned out.
Yeah. Of course.
But that's the extent of what it can be, right? And now, let's say the first few of the starting at the bottom, that's just not a thing that happens anymore, right? Or is solved enough unless it's like an insane kill. And usually an insane kill means it's just a crewmate being in a really bad area for whatever reason.
Well, actually, what I will say is that I think one step above what you just said is the highest level, right? It kind of goes hand in hand with a frame kill or a 50-50 kill, I mean, is accusing your imposter buddy on 6 and having the crew vote out the common denom if they can't decide, right? Because if you're pairing yourself with the crewmate the entire game, right? And you're hard accusing your imp partner, and you guys haven't really been pairing with each other all game. They're gonna think that you're most likely not imps together. So voting out the common denom instead of trying to guess in the 50-50 would probably
There
be
have
more
been
beneficial.
I would say
attempts
in
of that play
stealth,
that have been immediately shut down.
in our server, we don't give credit for that at all because we know it's a potential.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, what I missed, I just like my entire internet just glitched.
Now we're just talking about the highest level of imposter.
Like, we're just
Oh,
we're just
okay.
aware of the play, and like it's something that is always put on the table, like as an option.
Sure.
It's fundamentally, I have no idea how imposter win rate is so high with 0.5 vision.
Hmm.
Is the biggest thing for me that I'm thinking of.
That's
mean,
my
what-
issue as well.
But
I don't know. I've been watching you 5-Up for the longest of time. You know, I started playing 2020 way back in August, September.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 1,500 hours on Among Us. Like I've been grinding this shit too, bro. Trust me. Like I don't know. I am curious to see from your perspective though in the lobby with you guys.
My question would be like, have you guys played on 0.25 before, and how is the information that your, like, the crewmate team gathered?
I mean, it's still
From playing on 0.25. Well, the thing about it is, right, we've only played on ranked servers, so and those ranked servers have their rules, right? So 0.5 is always the rules usually.
it's kind of.
we-
I mean,
we
I
don't
played
have
on
the-
55 and like other servers though. I think the way you play around that is like it's just like path things and meta a lot, but the admin table still works a lot, and Cam's does as well. So that utility
Yeah.
is pretty strong.
Still, I would say that like we really don't use meta in your lobby, at least not my perception that much.
Yeah, that's
Not-
fine.
Not
mean, like,
not
that
not
admin
too
is
much.
probably-
There is some here and there, which is understandable. It's always gonna happen in deception games, so it's not like it's not the main driving force to voting.
Well, I would assume that when you're playing on 0.25 vision, I'd say that cams or most likely admin table is your best friend. Huh?
No.
Right. You
No.
wouldn't think so?
Camping like any info spot like before your tasks are
You
finished.
get killed.
Wait, how do you
also-
find the body then? I
You
don't
do get
understand how
killed.
to find bodies.
Because we do tasks in 0.1 second, and then we walk around to the next area, and everyone's
Yeah.
on a path of tasks, and then like a task path is inherently where a body would be.
It's gonna take you like 3 minutes though to do all your tasks, even if you're just like spamming them. But in that time, you can get like 2 kills easily by yourself if you're not pathing through like.
How do you get a kill with
Like,
people in 2 sections?
What's up?
How do you get a kill that doesn't get discovered?
If you say like no one, are you just like randomly going through like, say like the node below the light cage? Are you going to like boiler room?
No, because you don't do that round 1, because you're inherently going to die.
So what happens? When do you do it then?
Round 2, before the kill
Start of
cooldown
a
is up.
round, yeah, like when
So
you're
you do
safe.
all of your easy. Okay, then how about this then? If everyone's doing their easy tasks, then wait, I don't understand. If no one's in like that far apart of a place than the other crew, then you can still just do frame kills on 0.25 vision so easily. If someone's just killing like while there's people within the vicinity,
Yeah.
then
It's
like
very
how are you
easy to
supposed
misclear
vote
as
the
well.
imposter? They can just claim that they were like on the task or that they like walked this way. You can even pair with your teammate in that scenario. I just don't understand how that's even viable.
That's part of where some meta does get like put into play.
I mean,
Yeah, but you said yourself that like people know how to lie, so how does that even ever not work?
Well, because then it becomes a pair of it's either this pair or this pair.
No, I'm saying how do you if you kill and the kills between
And
4
misclears can
people
easily
and they're
happen
able
as
to
well.
lie about it, how are you able to vote?
It's
confused
also
by-
like the ability of the crewmates to trace each other's movements. Like, is it likely that they get this kill? Yes.
It
no.
very comes down to like we.
Everyone knows where everyone can walk to in X seconds. Like
Oh, yeah,
everyone has
everyone
that
knows exactly
level
where
of
they could be,
like,
and if
I
they could
agree
have
with
vented
that.
the potential to kill, how they're
Yeah, that's-
moving the exact stance.
that's what I don't understand. If you're playing on
You
0.25 vision and imposter has a vision of their entire screen, I don't know how imposters are not able to easily take advantage of that and vent to wherever or potentially walk one way and then go in the exact opposite direction. I feel like
I'm
don't know. I
I'm
feel like there's
telling you, the
unlimited
crew
opportunity.
are just extremely aware. Their surroundings are very good at.
Everyone,
That's like I don't know. what
it's like we have sonar is the best way I can explain it. We just know where people are just from playing long enough to have that ability.
So 5-Up, a question from another person watching this is, what do the imp wins look like in your Stell lobbies?
Like that's very vague.
It's very varied because we play with modded roles, right? Now, Um, I there's certain ways you can frame things because you have to play off the other people's roles, right? Um, there is a role that is a warlock, and they have the ability to witch a person, and they have the ability to kill a person off that. So, like, say I warlock you, you don't know that's happened. I can click kill on my screen, and if anyone is near you, like, it'll light up when someone's near you. It'll just make you kill that person, or like that person will fall over on you. With that being said, I was the warlock. I just killed a person flat in front of me, and said that a warlock killed, and went on a tangent of who it could potentially be. Like the string of information of this convinced people that the crewmates, besides this one person, because I was heavily framing this one person, and won the game like that. Now that's just a very specific, varied example, but most of the time, because we play with 0.25 vision, other extra roles, you don't know who the imposters are off the first kill. You generally have a feeling of who the imposters are and a very likely educated guess when there's 6 alive. But there's so much that plays into a modded lobby compared to a vanilla lobby, right? Where like I don't think it's necessarily comparable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. That's why I think it's just, I don't know. It's just all perspective based. Like, you have a better perspective than us from playing in the modded lobbies, you know. Then again, you know, we haven't played in your lobbies, so.
The first time I ever played with this group was like 2 months ago, and I didn't like mod. I was a huge stickler of hating modded because most of the time modded is terrible.
Oh yeah, like people troll and like really the biggest problem with modded is the neutral kill.
I'm a huge fan of balance and interesting gameplay, and so when I played with them and I was told to play with them from multitude of different people, I was like, okay, sure, I'll give it a try, and I wanted to play vanilla lobby, which they normally didn't do, but they did it, and it was fun. There were some imposter win. I think I got an imposter win, and I made a huge play with giving information via cams on where my partner was and clearing everybody on the map besides one specific person. And that won us the game via that in a vanilla setting. But I'd say most of the time those games finished within like 6 minutes, 8 minutes.
I think
Even that, though, if you're clearing the whole lobby on cams, like in our meta, you're getting voted for a pair 100%. Unless you're just like hard clear off something.
Having heard you describe how that vanilla game
Like,
went,
it comes into play of like your ability to like speak and conduct yourself too.
Yeah, that's purely a speech.
When you're playing mechanically, like you vote someone even if it seems like their crewmate like a lot, because like imposters know how to seem like their crewmate, so you just vote people who are not clear.
But what if I was only on cams for 5 seconds and people know cams were on?
No, you're clear for the kill, but we're shooting you because you're clearing someone who's not. Because there's
but why does it not make that person who is likely the imposter that I'm insinuating is the imposter? Why would you not vote that up?
It's because of that exact reason. You could be just insinuating that person is the imposter.
So then it doesn't become a 50-50, and then what if their pathing doesn't make sense that much, and I strew it as a nobody's seen them?
Well, you're saying on
let's say this, right? You're saying that you're on cams, right?
There's
you're able to
a lot of hypothetical confirmation bias in this.
No, not even. I feel like that play is just like is not gonna like fly.
That play is good. That's a decent play. I don't know.
What to clear everybody else on the map and then
It's not clearing everybody else. It's just clearing 2 people, and other people trust each other and say this is the only person realistically that could be the imposter. Why would you add that information? What's the difference between being on cams and not being on cams?
Well, the difference. You're able to.
So we don't see what you see, so we're just shooting you.
So do you just vote somebody who claims cams in your lobby like every time?
This is what we'll do. If there's one person's info that is like extremely important in like who's getting shot, like say the kills between 2 people under the impression that this person's telling the truth, we shoot all 3 of them. Like the order is.
Okay, so what if I play imposter, where me and my partner get a kill, right on round 1? It goes to 8. My partner is sus. I am not. I spend the rest of the game getting myself clear.
Yeah.
They get a kill. They get away with it. This is a big hypothetical, okay?
And you're on 7, or?
And you're on 7. Most of the time you don't vote people on 7. The body gets found. Then we go into a game and my boss partner gets a kill again. I've cleared myself essentially with everybody on this round and the last round. And I claim camera's info saying that if this kills between 2 people because of all the prior rounds, why would you trust? Why wouldn't you trust my perspective over the other?
I mean, it's like it depends on how you play.
Well, now you're making up this extremely rare scenario that benefits you very specifically, right? For the point that you're trying to prove,
Well,
right?
I'm trying. I'm
So
trying to
of course
insinuate
we
that,
would.
like, why wouldn't you
we
trust
would-
cameras?
Well, yeah. Well, in this sense, we most likely would trust you, right? Because you're saying that you've been cleared for the entire game. Your imposter buddy gets sus 1 kill. He got cleared on 7, and now he gets another kill, and now you're clearing him.
Yeah.
And I mean,
This
those
is
two
just an
people that
example
you're.
of this is a scenario that I won on.
Well, okay.
But,
Well,
I mean, a
well
lot
then
of
in that
I
scenario, I
don't think
most
it's
likely would vote with
particularly.
you.
I wouldn't say that's a very like rare thing. Like,
No, that
like,
is-
someone
that
who's
is-
good will make that play.
But if you're making kills like that, like I don't even like you were saying that like those kills are like easy to counter, but like if you that's literally a kill that we would make, and like that would probably be countered by us, and if it didn't there, like I don't know why that would be different.
I mean, this whole story was framing that imposter wins are possible in vanilla, right? Like, isn't that a good thing?
It is a good thing, but it was of that echelon of like that's what it takes for an imposter win.
Sure, yeah, that's like
I think that's great. That's going to make for a really good highlight. It's good content. It's good engagement.
Yep.
But I'm saying like that's kind of like the bare low part of like how you have to do something of that to win.
Yeah, you want players. I think that the coolest thing about the game is playing the hard role, which is imp, because it's so crew favored the whole game. And then if you do make a play, that's what you're going to remember. Like, that's going to stick out. Like, hey, I made this sick play. That's much more fun than just like winning a mechanical voting game.
Yeah, well then also that first double kill, I think you glossed over getting to 8. Even when there is 2 kills, we usually do have a voting pattern. If we have an imp between 2 people usually, or we have like say we can vote like even if we don't vote, that next kill is probably going to be between 2 people, and you can keep that 50-50 alive on 6, but just keeping that pair so unnoticed is going to be so difficult.
I don't think so.
It's not even like established as a pair, like in this scenario.
Yeah, I wouldn't be established as a pair with my other person.
Yeah, but this is all under the impression that like you got to kill first round with your teammate, right? So you're going to be
No, we went to separate directions. Only one body was found. You wouldn't know where the other body is.
Yeah, but we still like have info on the body, like the last person to see.
This is just a scenario that 5UP is making, you know, to
Yeah.
It's
prove
not a
it.
scenario. It's something that
it's-
actually happened.
It's more of like it's asking why you wouldn't inherently trust Cam's people.
No, that is just a good play. That is a good play. You probably would win if all of those things happened, but it's just like really really unlikely that you're making it like past 8 as a person who's leading the vote on 6. Like
We're just saying that we haven't seen it much in our lobbies. Like plays like that have been.
How does
been
yours?
attempted.
I guess my question becomes: how do people in your lobby usually win as imposter?
Well, you know, it's different now. I mean, I don't play the game as much as I used to, and the lobbies are a lot different because a lot of the the better players have kind of peeled off. But now it kind of just some games almost rely on a bad crew to make a bad read or a bad clear, and then the imposter can abuse that.
But you don't even need that, but like that's just how most wins are because the player base is like decreased in skill. So like if you have one like not great player, you can kind of
Exploit
play
them.
around.
Then,
They're
You
gonna-
can take advantage of that.
well, yeah, and then you're just gonna win off of that, right? So my argument becomes like, what if there's not that? How do you win?
If there's not-
If that's the main way you're winning.
I mean, the way you win in that case is just like I said, because we don't have a task meta. So I mean, we do our tasks, but like it's not like a that you just speedrun them. So what we would do is you make a decent first kill, however that is. Like it's how like an average game would probably go. You're on 9.
How long would you say it usually takes to get the first kill?
It's pretty. I don't know. It's between like. It's actually very like different because sometimes there'll be a button between the first kill and sometimes it'll be, like, instantly off cooldown. So I don't really know how to say.
People button instantly off cooldown.
No.
Normally, I would say that there's usually a kill in the first round, or actually, in our server, there has to be a kill.
Yeah.
There's either a kill or a sabo, right? You can only button after a sabo or a kill. That's the only way you're allowed to button.
Oh, is
And,
that the meta in your server? You're not allowed to
It-
button.
it's
and
a rule.
Sabotage before.
Correct.
Yes.
There must be a body or a sabotage before the first button can be called.
Why?
Why?
I don't know. I don't like that.
What
but that's how it is.
what if you vote on someone in 7, or like what if something happens in 7? You need a button.
no,
or
no,
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 this
it's
is different.
only
This
on
is
10.
only on 10.
Like,
Only on 10.
Only
on
on the first round of the game, but still, why? Like you see someone vent or
I
something,
don't
you
really
can't
like
do
it.
anything about it.
I mean, there was a meta. for a
I've
little
brought
bit.
that up before. I don't. Is it? Can you button
just
after
have
you
common,
see
just
somebody
have
vent?
common decency as like a group and just say don't just button to reset killer cooldown.
Well, no, we don't play on common decency though, because we have a leaderboard, so everyone will just abuse anything that's not against the rules. But I mean, the reason we implemented that, I heard that there was like a button.
So if we okay, then this is a different thing where the flaw becomes huge in Among Us then, right?
Clogging.
If you're playing to make everything on the leaderboards and you want to have the best stats possible, you're going to statistically get crewmate the most. So at that point, everyone groups on top of each other because Among Us played perfectly.
Mhm.
Imposters are impossible to win.
Yes, but this
Yeah,
is
we
also
play
banned
with
in
the
rules
imposters.
with anti-stacking. You cannot stack.
You're not
What does
allowed
that mean? What does anti-stacking mean?
So there is a bit of description around if you have 3 or more people who've been going admin vitals for more than like X number of seconds, then the game's a cancel, or like it will be punished by moderators.
So how do you decide who has to leave that group?
You just
Well,
one of you has to, or the whole crew will be punished, right? Like
So someone just does usually.
it's the rule. The moderators will crack down on it, and you'll get warned or banned from ranked if you keep breaking the rules.
What if you're in like specimen and just happens to be 3 people in specimen?
That if you're doing your task, it's fine. Usually that's what they say, but you can't just have everyone run around together.
So what if you just instantly finish your task as crewmate in 5 minutes flat, and that's the long side of things, and you're just going through your path, and then you just
Once tasks are done, it's very different. And also, you are allowed to stack once there's only a certain smaller number of players alive.
In stack and then.
Isn't it on 7?
Yeah, on 7 you can.
7 or below, you can stack. You can also stack during a sabotage.
Like during lights, yeah, any sub, you can.
I feel like your group of people should try and just do tasks while also paying attention where everyone is and see how that goes for you, instead of
Oh, we've done
Um,
just like that.
I mean, it's
We-
also like I don't know like how quickly people do tests, but like for something like numbers or whatever, I'll do them in about 2 seconds, and like that doesn't really cover my screen very
Wait, I don't
much.
understand. What do you mean you're doing? Wait, what did you just
Like-
say?
It's doing 1 through 10 by clicking very quickly,
And,
just like...
and like numbers, like you pass through that, and
Yeah.
then like you still
Yeah.
have vision of everything, because like who's gonna
We
be able
still
to
have,
walk
like-
by you in like
It's like
a short amount of
an
time?
understanding of
right?
positioning and stuff
Yeah.
like that. When you're putting so much emphasis on tasks, the info is so much less, which gives the imposters a lot of like
The
ability.
thing is,
I don't think it's much less.
it's not emphasis on tasks. It's just people are doing tasks and getting their info at the same
So,
time.
like you can do things, right? Like inherently, it sounds like a fancy play of, oh, someone's on download, I'm gonna kill them, like the other person on top of download with them and run away. They don't see me, but you know there's now a body on top of you, and know someone killed on top of you, and then everyone else who is with someone else at this exact moment is just
It's not
clear.
even that. It's just when you're stuck in a place like doing a task, your info is limited to where you are, and like you can run around, do your tasks.
There's only 2 tasks that take 3 tasks, and that's asteroids,
and when
that's
you have
download
three
/
tasks-
upload, and it's meds or med.
No, it's not that like you're sitting in one place only. It's that you're not like checking vitals, you're not checking admin. So there's still a lot of people who play like this, like where you run around and do tasks and get info.
So,
I think you might be
So,
underestimating
I
the
think-
amount of like information you have just by seeing a person on your screen at some point.
yeah.
Yeah, we do have that, right? But that's like when everyone's doing that, it's not enough. Like, we've had those metas before, and it's not
You
enough.
also have to consider like the imposters are only going to be in like 2 positions at once on any given part of the map. Like they're not always getting a kill. They're not always doing these things. Like you can go to a
Yeah.
med scanner and something like just might not even happen, and it's actually like
have-
likely
they have,
that
like-
nothing's going to happen.
They can see their whole screen. They have access to admin and cams. Like they know where people are, and playing around that is a lot easier when people are not as focused on getting information.
Okay, I think this is the brutally honest truth, right? So, from your perspective, right? I do believe that you guys think your players are better, right? Am I
I'm not
right
saying
or
we're
wrong?
better or not.
I'm not saying they're better. I'm
no,
saying
no,
like
I'm-
we have very strong crew. Like that's
Yeah, I think
all
we have strong
I don't
crewmates.
know how I don't
Okay.
know how strong your crew is.
Yeah, but okay, so the meta for you guys is to do tasks very efficiently and quickly, right? You do your routes, you finish.
We,
your
we
tasks,
also
right?
find information. It's just
Yeah,
you
you-
can get a lot of information
It's
even
us.
doing tasks.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't
Well, I don't know.
stack admin and vitals.
I just,
We
I
do
just, I
also.
just,
We-
I
we
don't
No,
know.
it's
definitely
house
do.
ruled against like stacking at all. Like there, when you finish tasks, you can camp admin and vitals and whatever the heck you want. But because we
No,
have
only
14
after.
tasks, that rarely happens.
Can you be alone
I
in battle?
don't know. Maybe I have to watch.
Yeah, you can be alone in vitals all you want. It's fine, but like you're putting yourself at risk.
I just feel
You're
like when
probably going to
people-
die there.
You path through office and cams a lot, or like through subs.
Someone
In
at some
between
point
doing
does.
tasks, sure. Like in between seeing groups of people, sure.
Do you do it a lot though, or is that just?
I guess like people in this lobby, I'm making an assumption. They can just look at what they have and know the optimal way to path for every round.
Yeah, that's what most. Yeah, any like good player will be able to do that for sure. But The only issue, the reason our win rate is that high is because we are in a public server now, so we don't have access. Like we can't like limit our players.
I guess it's like if the if a kill is really quick, the body realistically will be found quick because it's not a sneaky thing. It's a get a kill done quick, right?
Yes.
Usually.
So when you do that, right, then obviously you'll have more information about that body. If you don't do that, you go for a more sneaky thing. The crewmates are fully pathing towards doing all their tasks, but within that, if a crewmate feels, oh, it's been a while, maybe the kill happened, they'll either check around their group or they will full on just go to vitals and check it, right? And you have a crewmate that checks vitals, and then if a crewmate checks and they see a body's dead, they go to admin, they figure where would the body be, and then they go out and find it, generally.
And depending on who you saw while doing tasks, you can make clears based off of that.
Yeah, and then if at any point they die, they're probably going to die in office or on the way out of office, and people who also have that same feeling are going to enter and find that body.
Are you talking about in our lobbies?
No, this is in
Just
general.
in general.
This is
I mean, I guess again,
description of the game Among Us.
That is true.
I think like
But, the big thing is like the difference is if you don't make that kill that's quicker, our people are inherently going to just be like almost done with their tasks.
Yeah, no. If we also have that. If you don't kill early, like you're at a disadvantage if you're not like doing anything. But you can like use your sabotages without killing as well to like redirect people. Because I'm assuming if like lights are called, you're not just gonna like walk around doing your tasks, right? You're gonna try to either fix them or go next to someone.
Some people do their tasks though. Some people
Some-
will go
yeah,
to vitals. Some people, if lights are going off, and if you decide, are you closer to cameras or are you closer to vitals? You would just go to vitals.
Yeah,
If you're
exactly.
closer to vitals, right? And then most people, you see people there, you see a group on you, and you have that person probably already watching vitals itself. You can see when a body dies, you can clear everyone that's with you on there, and then you also have someone with an admin area. And it's like, okay, well that's interesting that there's this here, right?
Well, how do you
And-
counter lights then? If
You
in your lobbies?
because what do you mean as imposter as crewmate?
As crewmate.
You don't counter lights. I
I'm
mean,
like-
you just fix them.
If I were to call lights, like where's your info coming from at that point?
We have admin, we have vitals, we have where people are positioned on top of
we
us.
do still see each other. Like if the window's smaller, it is still there.
Yeah, but if you're focused on getting your tasks done as fast as you can, and also
It's
you're on-
not about focusing getting your tasks done as quick as you can. It's just we
Like,
are very quick at
Tasks
doing
are never
tasks.
like the focus. Like they're being
okay.
done like while we get info on other people.
Our focus is getting information about who's around us, and then quickly doing the tasks as quick as possible, and then seeing who's around us still.
well,
Is a
then
good way to phrase it.
We do that as well. Yeah, we definitely just do that. But I mean, I guess then.
But
Yeah, what's up?
if you guys are doing that, I feel like the 20-minute rule is just absurd.
No,
because
we
like
did-
how
we did an 8-minute rule in our server, in a different server, not including meetings, which was, I think, a lot smaller. But
8 is too low, but yeah, whatever.
no,
I don't
we
know
played
that
on.
one.
We had like a 10% input rate on an 8-minute timer, but it wasn't including meetings. So
I would recommend on Thursday there's a lobby set up already. Just watch how that plays out and see how the people are acting and the information they get.
Is it in Waffle or what?
I mean, I'll just be streaming it.
Oh, you're streaming
It's
it.
like
Watch
it's
it.
like my lobby.
I'm sorry, Homer. Can I make a little bit of an introduction here?
Sure.
I have a question, yeah?
Yep.
So, based on the situation where you say that we should be presented upon your lobby, what would that, like, serve the cause into what we're trying to present? Because, of course, we're trying to, like, bring you into a situation where we kind of need a little bit of mediatic information to get ourselves to be, popped out there, right? Now, the whole point here is that you want to prove that ranked is almost kind of, like, not even worth at this point, which, it's a valuable point to make. But if we get to your lobbies, what is the result that you're expecting and for what reason? Because I don't get that still.
Oh, I guess it was. I don't know how the conversation started, but I said vanilla Among Us at a whole is solved in itself, and that was
Yeah.
the point. And the counter argument was it wasn't, and it was
Okay.
just my opinion versus the other opinion.
The counter argument, I think, is that we counter it with like changing our settings and rules, which. I
So
think-
basically, what you want to prove is the fact that games will always go the same because it's always the same monotone aspect because the game is already at its maximum play, right?
It's not the
It's
game's
not
going
at its
the
maximum.
same.
The game inherently can still very be fun on vanilla. I just said it kind of boils down to accusing people and framing 50-50s.
Yeah. So you're saying that like
We counter that with
single
the fact that
game will go
buses are-
that way, right?
every game is not going to play out the same way. There's like a pool of certain scenarios that can happen in vanilla, and the pool is kind of not big.
And so I'm guessing you guys have assumed that every single one of those scenarios you guys have already explored every single outcome that can play out of those single scenarios.
Well, not every, the most realistic.
I'll say like there's options for everything, right? And
Yeah.
the reason that there's options is because it's a 2-player game of imposter. It's not just one. But it's still very, very, very difficult, nonetheless, to win as imposter, especially in vanilla. I think
Without
that's like
those like limited options. Is that what you're saying?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't.
If I have a lobby full of Hafus, right?
Yeah.
Let me just use her as a baseline for a crewmate. On 0.25 vision, imposter wins 1 in every like 15 games.
Well, that's something I probably would agree with. Like, if you're playing in a lobby full of really good crewmates, and even if they are good imposters as well, like crewmates are gonna win pretty much every time if they're not like messing up, obviously. But I mean, you can just counter, right? Why don't you just change like the rules that you're playing on to benefit imposters more?
I think they did that exactly.
We
That's exactly what we've done with my lobby. Yes.
Oh, well,
I had
then-
so many rules
To
in
make
place
the
in
games
the
more
Hafu
interesting,
lobby.
we have buffed like imposter like roll abilities and
I
nerfed
don't know.
crewmate one.
We had so many changes to the
Added
Hafu
more
lobby, and it's like
tasks.
at some
Well,
in our
on the-
determination, it was better for content. So Hafu and I just stopped trying, so other people could like still have their content. But for
what did you change on vanilla then?
you're not allowed to use cameras just flat out day one. On Polis, the admin table you had to be super limited. Don't go back and forth between vitals and that. No stacking with each other, etc. Like there was a lot of things, and we played on 0.25, and it was still crewmate wins.
That just makes me feel like the imposters aren't as advanced, but that's just an assumption.
I mean,
so-
okay, why are we arguing over what the like imp win rate should be? Like, isn't it fine for imp win rate to be relatively rare, and then when it does happen?
I think imp win rate should be 15%, 15 to 20%. I think that's a good win rate for imp, as a good spot.
I think he's saying that
I'm saying vanilla will probably have lower win rate if played correctly and optimally.
I
and you're also
disagree.
saying that
Is this also like strictly Polis? Like, I know everyone hates on Airship.
Oh, Polis is the most balanced map.
Yeah,
Sure.
play Polis.
I mean, if we just
There's more
explore,
crewmates on the others.
just hypothetically, Airship, is that just a dog shit map, or is it like?
Oh yeah, that's just not fun.
First,
Yeah, no.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot that was a map.
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, so you want imposters to win 1 out of every almost 5 games, right?
5 or 6 games. I mean, that's the ideal scenario.
I don't know. Maybe just me. I would want imposter
The
wins to be a
issue-
little bit more rare than that.
I think the issue he was mainly talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, is that imposters don't have that much that they can do, like versatility-wise or variety-wise, to win the game. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because it
They
is
go to-
impossible to be in 2 places at once
Hmm.
Sure, yeah. I think that
from a
was
mechanical standpoint.
that's the thing I just completely disagree on. But I don't know if like you've explored
wait,
more
wait.
imposter
So,
play
So-
stuff.
so then hold on. The argument here is that you would be opposed to playing a rank setting because it is apparently too unfair for.
I didn't
imposters.
say I was opposed.
I mean, no, yeah, but I mean that is kind of like the situation that happens with most people. They feel like obviously, Among Us is an 8v2, so it's essentially obvious that imposters will not win more than crewmates. Based on that, if played 100% correctly, it is known that it will be impossible for imposters to win. That is known. But the thing is, if you are playing on a rank setting, aren't you supposed to be playing based on the favorite of what the 10 versus 2 or the 8 versus 2 is? In that situation, being a good imposter will be rewarded by actually winning the games instead of actually putting, settings towards benefiting the fact that you win them.
Here is
Yeah.
what I would love. Like I tell you this with all my heart. I would love for Among Us to be a good game to be played ranked on. As a whole, I love deception games. It is my favorite genre of game. I love taking it very seriously competitive. I was one of the sweats in the morning lobby. I love that. I wish so much that it could be like that, but in my opinion, I don't think it can be. Just because of the mechanic. It's nothing to do with the players. It's just the mechanics of the game alone.
So
Well,
if
I
I've
think you're-
on
I think
the
you're,
on the mechanics, we've sort of argued a little bit about whether it's possible or not. Like, we have our opinion because we have our community, and you have yours, and that's fine, right? But on this idea of modifying the game, because there are mods that have been built, and like you said, most of them are bad, you've also attempted to make a map. I believe you had someone like try to build an underwater map or something like that. But are there
No,
other
that is-
are there other sort of like modifications to the game that could be made? For example, like a mini map for imposters, or like we've built a imposter server where imps can DM each other effectively and pre-plan that way. Do you think any of that helps with the sort of
I think
yeah?
so. It gets to a certain point of like, are you playing Among Us or are you playing a modification of a game? And if I like the game Among Us, I'm gonna keep the elements of what make that game interesting. One of the major elements is imposters cannot communicate with each other. They can only signal via wiggling or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I love that element, and I would never change it. I don't like the fact that if you could pre-plan
guess.
stuff. With Submerge, the map that I made, I had a few things that I changed about how sabotages work to change that, and it is deemed as the best map by a lot of people. It's just not available to in general because reasons right now, which I'm not saying.
Okay.
But that's besides the point. For sabotages, I didn't like the fact that you could ignore going to like O2 or what's it called?
You could just let reactor like count down.
You
like,
can
just-
you can let other people do it. There was no time pressure. I needed something that forces people to group up in a certain area and leave their areas. So I created O2, or oxygen mask, where if you didn't grab an oxygen mask from the middle of the map, you would die, just from lack of oxygen. I changed lights, where instead of the circle just getting smaller, the lights would flash, like they would blink, like a light bulb that's dying, and then it would flat out shut off. You didn't see anything on your screen for like 2 to 3 seconds. You could change the timer on it, and then it slowly fades back to the normal sabotage range of the like vanilla Among Us light sabotage.
That's
I had
actually
another.
cool.
These are
But- insanely
insanely cool
No,
ideas.
this is really
What
This
is
is
holding
my
it? I guess you don't want to get into details about why it's not available, but
I
like,
can't say.
yeah. I guess I'll just express that I hope that this can be a thing before the whole community disappears.
I agree.
So hold on. So then you agree with the fact that imposters have more power upon the decision that crewmates are making, because based on what you told me, crewmates are free to do whatever they want, and imposters really have limited amount of power on what their movement can be. Crewmate movement can
Yes.
be related to. So in that case, you're presenting the case that even if you call reactor, you can let 2 people do it, and the rest of them can just stack in office and get the information and just solve the case, which is most likely what people with wireframe their brains into doing. Yeah.
No, but I think from what it sounds like,
Yeah.
and this is my assumption, your community puts a lot of value into vitals, admin, etc. Cameras a lot. That's what it sounds like to me. I am of the opinion that you don't explore
Neither.
the amount of power that it just has of seeing a person on your screen and keeping track of where people are and their potential of where they can be.
Okay, so let's say you start the round, you do, I don't know, the node right next to storage. You see 2 people going left side, you see 3 people going right side. To get kind of those people, the time that it takes to get there. If someone gets a kill in between that, you would count the seconds that it takes for them to get to that place, and if they're there or not, that depends on whether they're the killer.
I would say most people do in general go to fix the sabotages for like reactors, so right? But it's not everybody. Like it depends on the number of people alive, right? You have the most important kills are the ones on 10, 9, and 8.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not the ones after that. So I don't care. Like reactor in the beginning of the game, most people will just let some people fix it, and the others go and trying to find a body because like otherwise, why is reactor called? That is the general meta of it. So people get killed by trying to find a body, but that's the general meta, and it's essentially that one person wandering trying to find that body. It doesn't force people to group up. So when I say like it is impossible for imposter to be in 2 places at once, that's the major thing of where can a person be if they are on this specific side of the map, and how long would it take them to get to the other side of the map? The way the map is designed as a whole is you either go left or you go right. You have the option of going down to office or like weapons. I'm talking fullest. You have the option of going down or like not going left and right. But if you do that, odds are you will die very often compared to if you don't. And so if you are just going to die very often, meaning imposters see, hey, that's a juicy kill, it's probably not the best thing to do. So you're going to deem you want to go left or you go right. And now you have a chunk of people on the left side of the map and the chunk of people on the right side of the map. You see who
Oh.
is still there when a meeting is called.
So I'm guessing the way you, especially since you're like, the figure of imposter, you know, 5 up, whatever. It's like this scenario in which like, you, for example, say you're on lab, you plan to make a kill venting to the left side, you would have to somehow take care of all the chances that people will, according to what you're telling me, know that you could, you know, presumably go vent to office or vent to, you know, right below lab and then get a kill in the middle of office, or you can, you know, get to
It's
left
not
side.
about the fact that they know I could do that, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's about the fact that the crewmate can't. So all the crew that are remaining in med lab when I get this kill are now clear just from existing because they can't. Like, I can't be there in that group to get cleared. So even if I zoom across the map and get to the other side, you have people that are fundamentally hard cleared that can't do this. And that number grows exponentially quick, especially if just people are next to each other when a kill happens. And realistically, a lot of the times people know the timing of a body because someone's on vitals or someone knows that information. So even if a kill happens on the left side, there's 3 people there. You could say this is a bad kill, but most of the time, like if a kill happens there, people think it's an external source rather than one of the 3 people in that group.
Okay, so then picture this lab, you call lights, there's about 4 people in there, you're one of the 4 people, you land on the left side, and then you have a pairing with your imposter partner that just cleared you, but you also have the situation in which more people could have paired each other. I'm guessing you guys get that solved, and then like, what do you do after that? Since you can, according to what you're telling me, you could force pairs into happening in different stuff of the map, and then like essentially getting a confused crew.
Then it comes down to alibi of what do people believe, because people are still going to have their own opinions about how people move.
Okay.
So say it becomes a situation of it's me versus them in pairing. That's just a speech. That's just a speaking game at that point, right?
It is.
And that's what I'm essentially saying. The game boils down to a 50-50 or a frame, and not. I guess that's the crux of what I'm saying. It becomes a game about speech and meetings.
Well,
But not like
it's
really
a
fun. No, I feel like
it's
that's really fun.
It's a social deception game. It's supposed to be about speaking.
I
Yeah.
think the meeting is a lot more fun than like the game. I don't know if you agree.
I'm not saying like this is a bad thing. I guess I was phrasing it as it is not the only way to win. It's just the main way to win, and it's not a bad thing either. I think that inherently is fun. It's just there's a lot of external factors besides the fact of speaking because of how game mechanics work. Unless you fully go 50-50 mode between people, and then people decide with that.
And it's a
I-
really 50-50 had you gotten more than 2 pairs on the side.
Well, it's still a 50-50 now. It's my pair of 2 people versus a different pair of 2 people. That still mathematically is 50-50.
Well, I mean, but you have more pairs than that because you can cause that.
It's pretty easy to cause a kill between 3 susses. Like there's an in between 3 people off the info.
The thing is, if what you're telling me is people are going into task by the side, you get a kill pretending you're self-reported and getting an alibi for something where you're not in with lights off. You could call people to clear 2 people from each other and get like 3 or 4 pairs on the map at the same time. Then once that's done, you don't have a 50-50 between 2 pairs, you have 4 pairs or 3 pairs. Then after that, you have to probably guess, or not guess, kind of like educate yourself on how it is, which pair is the responsible one for the kill, right? Or not?
So most of the time I would deem it as impossible to have like 3 different pairs of 2,
Okay.
because if you do, that's 6 people. You have the person that's dead, making it 7. Then you have the other 3 crewmates. The other 3 crewmates are not going to be in positions just randomly scattered around the map and like top left, top right reactor and specimen. They're going to be near these people that are the other 2 susses, other 2 groups of 2s. One of those 2 groups of 2s is going to be vouched for by a 3rd person, meaning
Well,
that
that's not
pairs
fair
off the
then.
table.
Well, that's not a pair then. Yeah, that's a 3-way.
Yeah, that's what he's getting at.
But I mean, I just don't it's kind of just weird to me that like positioning would be that strong to where.
Oh, well, no. The thing is that situation I described has happened before in our lobbies, though.
I feel like that's bad crewmate play then.
Well, then whatever.
It's
I mean,
I feel like that. How are the imposters not like making a kill off of like the positioning to be
I
exactly?
feel like that's playing solely meetings and not using any like true info from like the round, no mechanics.
Well, I mean, if kills are that easy to make that scenario, then how are crewmates winning that often? Then?
Yeah, I don't understand how you guys
You're
are
giving
playing
a
on
scenario. You're giving a scenario from your lobby, not mine.
our
That's the
point
fun
two
of it.
0.25 vision. You guys are claiming that you guys do your tasks extremely efficiently, right? You know, you're obviously getting information from what you can see on your screen, right? But what you can see on your screen is so limited. I don't understand how imposters are not playing around that to the point where it's like,
It's a thing about also being used to the 0.25 vision, right? Like
Playing on it for the first time is very jarring. When you get used to it, it's very I guess the only way is like you would be surprised at how much info you can actually just get, and
Oh,
how
yeah,
much info
yeah.
there's like
More
you just
difficult,
get from
yeah.
seeing, and you see a lot more in general. If a person kills from behind you, you know everybody in front of you is good.
yeah, of course,
That's
it's the same thing. Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
you don't. What I'm saying is, you may not know that somebody could have looped around your vision and killed, right? They could have. Let's say you're walking in between comms and office. They wait above comms, right? They get a kill behind you, and they claim that they weren't vitals, right? They can vent into comms and office before you can. Like they can shut the door. Like
because
there's so much
because
play around
they're
potential. I feel like when you have 0.25.
because they're no longer in your vision and you don't see them in front of you anymore, they can still be sussed for the kill.
Well, how
Like
often?
Well, yeah, but
you can no longer clear them.
the point that 5up just made was that they're in front of you, right? So
Yeah,
they're clear
and
for the kill,
they're
right? The
accounted
kill's
for by
behind
other
you.
people in front of them potentially.
Okay, well, how often are there just 3 people that are like behind you that can all see each other that know like no one's moving around like without a sabotage, and then the kills?
people are in
That's not
constant
a good
motion. So say like we go to O2 side. Realistically, you have no one goes on cameras randomly normally, unless it's like later in the round and they know there's not a dead body. You have light sabotage, which you can camera if you want. Most people don't, and like people are in the proximity of it. You have download, and you have wires. People fake the download task so they can see who's entering.
We did that today.
Like so you know who's entering with you in the beginning of the game. When you go left or right, you generally know who is with you in your group of people. For like you have an educated information about that, and sometimes you'll see people. Then they go down, they go into O2, which once again it comes down to map design because it funnels you all into each other constantly. So if
Yeah.
you see a person here and you see them again, you're like, okay, they're still here. If a person disappears, you don't vouch for them. But
Well,
most of these like groups have people to vouch with them, and it's more than often more than just a pair. And sometimes you still trust pairs, because if you create a game where, oh well, it's only pairs, right? A lot of the time you have to know that your partner isn't with someone, because if you say, oh yeah, I'm with my imposter friend, and they are actually with someone or were just seen, then like it puts them in that awkward spot of they can't vouch for you, they just saw you.
Yeah. And then I mean the issue that I'm having is like you're saying in your lobbies, imposters are making like a genuine effort to like they're trying to play vision, vent around in a way to where they won't be sus, and then also the crewmates are playing around that so well while also having all their tasks done very fast. Like a lot of things like that is possible for sure, but I just feel like you saying
It's
that.
almost impossible to get that
I
consistently.
I do wanna emphasize that tasks are not the focus of the lobby. They are just getting done quick while we account.
Yeah,
I
Well,
would
I mean, the only
recommend
way
you.
to get them done fast is to focus.
I-
on them,
we're-
right? I mean, you can
You
still
really
look at your
don't.
screen, of
You
course,
really
but-
don't need to focus.
I guess I could say it like this as an example, and this is like I'm saying, take my word for it. I don't think there are like I don't think the people in this lobby that I play with are bad imposters. We are not playing in a way to get the most information via like standing around and not doing tasks. We're very much doing tasks, and we still have so much information.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's how a lot of people I know play in ranked as well. But the other thing I'm wondering is how is there still not a lot of like variety in imposter like play style? Like you can still play around that because we literally play like that in good lobbies. That's like pretty standard, and we're on 0.5 vision, and imposters are still making plays, and crewmates are still like they're not throwing, like they know they're getting all their info that they can. It's still decently easy to make a kill that is not like a 50-50 or like or the framer like you were saying.
I think it's like, in my opinion, right? This is my opinion. If people in Stell's lobby were to play in your guys' lobby, they would be one of the top players. And just handpick any one of them.
Really? You think so?
And yeah, and so it's just a group of cultivated these are all the top players playing together, and that's why it's hard. And you said a lot of your wins in the lobbies you play are because there's a player that is not inherently good at crew.
We had a
But,
player.
You gotta remember, right? This you're playing in your pre-made lobbies where you handpick, right?
Yeah.
This is a public server where anybody can come and join and play ranked. Right? It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you are, right? You can come in, you can join the game, you can play ranked, right? If we were able to hand select each player to join our lobbies, it would be an entirely different game. The stats would be entirely different. That's why the server that Homework and I came from, it was just so different. Even if we implemented the rules that were in this server, it would just still be an entirely different game because the players in that server were just of a different skill level.
So
The majority.
the question
That's
isn't.
what we're saying. The crux of the entire conversation is, you wanted. You were saying stuff about competitive Among Us, and I said that I think competitive Among Us in a vanilla is inherently flawed because the game is solved. That is the statement that started the entire conversation.
Okay, but if you say it's solved, that would imply 100% crew win rate.
No,
That's not what that means. I mean, that's kind of semantics on what you're.
The one
You
thing that
you kind of know what I mean by that, right? Like the game
Yeah.
fundamentally, it's understand the formula how you solve it.
No, I think the counter to that though is I feel like you're limiting the players that you're playing with so much that like your like viewpoint on how good other players are is just I don't think you have enough like information.
I would wager I have played with a lot of different people across a lot of different communities that are very good at the game.
I think it's fair to say that 5UP knows what he's talking about, and it is also probably a true statement that if you selected some people from Stell's lobbies, they would compare favorably in our community as also being strong players.
Well, I don't.
But I think
Right.
if we took like the 10 pre-made players of the players left, I don't know if this is like
Right, now we're talking, right? Like, what if we took some of the best players from each community and put them in a tournament and then see if it's a fun thing to watch, right? Like, that's sort of the question
I
here.
think tournament format is inherently scuffed, though.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Maybe.
it's never gonna be
No, Among Us tournament is not the way.
I don't know how tournaments even work with like that. But I
Like
think
they're a fun premise.
game
It's just
code-
hard to. There's no rule set that makes the Among Us
I
tournament
would
work.
do like a tournament if it was like a charity thing and I was like giving money to somebody.
Sure, and I think that could be on the table as well, right? Like the whole point isn't proving who's better. It's like you want to have people who are engaging with impressive play, who are having fun together, who are not toxic, who are promoting like, hey, here's some fun deception stuff and let's like give back to the community. And whether that's a charity or like helping people learn how to play deception games or promoting your favorite streamers or something, I think that's all really wholesome.
And tournaments are only like bad because of like the placements. They're not going to be accurate on skill because like it's impossible to take off of a limited amount of games who's better. But
A lot of times, if
that's
I'm playing Among Us, right, what it comes down to is if I'm alive late in the game, I'm inherently suspicious unless I'm 100% confirmed innocent, and I'll most likely be voted out.
that is
And
really-
most of the time, I'm imposter because when I am crew, most of the time, if there's a skill
Right.
disparity, I will get targeted,
yeah,
and that's
what
just
I'm
how it
saying as well.
is.
I just think like I think a lot of the players that we consider very good, like a lot of them say in full confidence that they would like play very very well in the lobbies that we've watched like on streams and stuff like that. We a lot of us say that like those lobbies seem like pretty easy from an outsider's perspective because of.
But Homework, that's also like a really egotistical thing to say. I think you should be
Yeah.
respecting that they know what they're doing. Just like they are also throwing us a bone that we probably have decent players, just not all of us are the same.
Saying that our perspective as well. So I think I don't know who's.
I mean, what is our objective here with this conversation? We're saying that we want to play together, yeah? I think that's the experiment.
Yeah, sure. Then yeah. I'm just saying like
It's not really about proving who's good and who's better, right? Like,
he has no reason to play with a bunch of players that are just like.
sure he does, right? Like, we can help each other out. Like, yes, he's coming from a more powerful standpoint of a huge viewer base and player base and so on, but it's...
So for me, I'm fine playing in any community. I'm fine experimenting everywhere. I'm not a person that, like, I'm not gonna ego people like, who are you? Like, that's just not me.
Yeah, I guess.
Sure.
I don't care about that at all. It was more of under the standpoint of, am I going to play in a area that is, in my opinion, has ways
Give
to
up the
solve, right? And
I also don't.
it's not about your community. It's
It-
It's about the game, I
Right.
guess.
The game might be
Where-
boring to you, right?
My response to
Yeah,
that,
Among Us base game vanilla, in my opinion, is inherently a lot more solved than what I'm playing now in the modded things because there's variations to scenarios, which make the
No, I
game
agree, I
interesting
agree.
to me.
Yeah.
I agree, but I
That
think
is the conversation or
I think what
thing.
you're not really addressing as much is that I don't have you had a lot of experience in playing with like ranked players because I feel like since like ranked began, players have made it their main goal to either become as good as possible or to create as competitive as an environment as possible.
I mean,
And
like I said, I'd be down to.
Mhm.
So if I join the ranked community, right? I'm gonna start with 0 MMR. I'm gonna start in the base game lobbies. I'm not gonna even be playing with the inherently.
no, we have open lobbies. There's no, it's not skill based matchmaking. We don't have enough players for that.
Oh.
So what we could do theoretically, we could take like all of our best players that we think would like make a decent lobby, and we could have you play with them to see like if you wanted. But
Yeah, the lobby would almost have to be pre-made.
I think
You
pre-made
don't
would be the way to
want to
go,
do it.
and we would hand
Yeah.
select like
Yeah.
actually good people, so you're not
if you
getting
were to start
randos.
playing in a lobby with like
Yeah.
a bunch of like a random lobby, yeah, I can promise you it probably would not be very fun because there are indeed a lot of players that it's just like your average like kind of like usually there's like
Public
4
player.
players you would consider probably bad. I would probably consider them bad as well. But if we were to take like a good lobby though, I think you could probably enjoy it a lot. It'd probably be an insightful
Well,
experience as well.
I think you want to like find a way to encourage people and kind of teach people how to get better or provide a feedback loop of like how to get people better.
Yeah.
Like that's the main thing that you want to do.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was the
true.
point of my entire content with Among Us, and it feels bad to kind of discourage people for not inherently being that good.
No,
in my
it's not.
opinion.
I agree.
We just don't want to like. We don't want to have like an experience be bad. Like I don't want you to like view your experience off of like something that we don't even consider good. I think we also have that mindset. We want everyone to get as good as they can at the game. We're not just gonna say like, oh, these players are really bad. We just don't want to touch them. We want like everyone to have the best experience they can as well. I'm just saying like theoretically, if we wanted you to have a viewpoint on it, we would want you to be in a good lobby, which is like I think I don't think that's discouraging anyone. It's just like so you get it back.
Yeah, I'm more mean just like how you're phrasing it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm kind of.
Well, I feel like I would like to say that our community has like a very mediatic respect for a bunch of good players. I feel like if you would name the good players, people more likely respect them more than anything. And so I feel like they're very open to understanding of why they are on top of the things before anyone other.
Yeah.
Because
So my word use of the word bad is probably pretty disrespectful, I guess. Let's just go that.
yeah, no, it's like we every time someone new comes in, we try to encourage them to play, even though we know they're probably not gonna do good. That's because we know getting good at a game like this usually takes time, and so when
We had in Tex, you remember we were in the server that Jay and me were in, and Tex was in as well. We had like a little coaching system
yeah.
where we were trying to help people get as good as possible. So that like mindset is still like it's still there, but it's a lot worse now because a lot of people are getting burnt out. There's a lot of like people that are really wanting to play for the leaderboard and stuff like that. So that gets a little messy, and it's kind of like comes with a lot of toxicity. But if we were to bring you like players that we selected, like it doesn't have to be like an exact like specific group of people. We have probably like I think 30 people to choose between that I think you would have a lot of fun in.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll say is like I am down to try and play in your lobby, and like if I play in your lobby, if I'm playing in a full competitive not tournament, but like just server, just for an experiment's sake, I will try hard.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the point. Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
that's great.
And
It's like you join
it-
ranked and just roll with everyone.
So I will give you some cautions that like some games will get cancelled because people will DC. Like there are ways in which this will not be a utopia experience.
I'm not expecting to join a competitive Among Us community and be like, yes, this is the best content for me.
Right.
I'm not expecting that
Yeah.
realistically.
Yeah.
The tournament thing would be like you would be playing with a lot of players that probably would be off-putting, but I think if we selected players for you to play with, that could be a really cool experience for you, just to have some insight onto what we consider to be really good players that I think we.
Yeah, some pre-mades to see like, hey, like can actually be a skillful game, and you can have some fun at the same time.
Yeah. So I would be down to try and just see what happens if I join for a little bit. I don't know if I'll be like doing anything I don't
Yeah,
know
sure.
when this will be. I'm just saying I'm down for
Kind
the
of
potential
convincing.
of doing that. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm not gonna say anything for like anyone else of the group of people that I play with.
That's amazing. We've started off with zero expectations, so the fact that you're down for that is already like really, really promising for the ranked community.
Yeah.
I will also probably say that like I'll say initially I'm open for my my opinion on Among Us as a game as whole to change.
Oh.
Um, like I'm open to being fully bamboozled and be proven wrong on everything that I've said in this, right? But if I'm not, there's not a good chance that I'll be playing often
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think
Of course,
competitive Among Us
you
is
That's
solid
fine.
as
you're
just
going
No,
in.
we're here to change your mind, right? Or to attempt to change your mind.
Right, and there is a world in which you will be proven right. Like, yes, you are actually a goated Among Us player, and the game vanilla is boring, and that will help you probably double down on solving whatever challenges are preventing Submerged from being released, and then that might even breathe new life into the ranked community. There's
think,
yeah, go ahead.
from a standpoint of like Among Us as a whole, Among Us competitive and Among Us as the game is very different. I think the community, the group of people that will want to play a very competitive thing is very, very small. I'm talking
Yes.
into like the single digit percentages.
Right, correct. We
Well,
can see that even in purple. Like we talked about that, the 230,000 players, a very, very tiny percent, just a couple of hundred, are actually
back in
even signed
the
up.
days though, like there's so many people that really wanted to be like the best as they could, but that's probably a lot. You're probably right that that's probably that drive is probably gone because the game is not really as popular in the mainstream. Not yet.
Yeah, a lot of people have given up on that. To be honest, nobody. I don't know.
But if we could attempt to bring that mindset of trying to be the best back into the mainstream at least a little bit, I think that could help a ton for how many people would try.
We'll see.
Oh, follow up. I have another question for you. This is kind of separate from Among Us, but have you ever played Resistance? Prevalent Resistance, yeah. How do you feel about that game?
I am not the hugest fan of Resistance. But, I mean,
What do you like
I mean,
and dislike about it?
There's just certain metas that exist, and you have to play with a group of people that understand how the metas work. Otherwise, it's just like there's little inconsistencies that happen. I assume you probably know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
And I think of deception games, it's not as fascinating as its like relatives. Like I like Mafia, I enjoy Secret Hitler, I enjoy things upon that type of game style. I think Secret Hitler is just a better Resistance.
This is actually a pretty good stopping point for me. You all are welcome to keep going, but I'm going to end my stream. Yeah.
I was probably gonna go also.
Thank you so much, 5UP.
Me as well.
Super appreciate it. And yeah, feel free to DM any of us for like more details. And you can play on the purple server. I assume you already know what that is.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. GG's. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Bye.
Guys, have a good night.